Hello everyone. This session is specifically for students of pre-final year and final year B.Tech and management students who are going to appear in their final placement round in due course of time. Now, typically, I'll be talking about the placement strategies which will help you to crack the selection round of various companies that will be visiting the campus for campus hiring or the companies in which you will be appearing in off campus also. So typically in the month of August or in the first week of September, primarily also in the month of October, the companies start visiting the campus for their campus hiring. And in terms of the students of B.Tech, you must be in your second seventh semester. So most of the companies that visit the campus for campus hiring have has two rounds of their selection process. One is nothing but a written examination, which is nothing but an aptitude test, and also checking your technical skills in it, followed by a personality round. And only students who will be able to crack the first round will be entitled for the second round, which is their personality round. So talking about how you should be preparing for your aptitude round or technical round, very first thing that you need to understand is what is an aptitude test. Now this aptitude test primarily, which they conduct, most of the companies, let me take an example of either a TCS or a Infosys or a Cognizant or a Accenture or a IBM, or either these companies, they'll be conducting their own aptitude test or they'll be taking the help of some third party assessment tools, which can either be AMCAT, which will be assessing your scores. And then on the basis of the scores, you will be called for the second round, which is nothing but an interview round, right? So, very first thing that needs to be done is to crack these aptitude tests. Now, typically, these aptitude tests have three components. Component number one is nothing but quantitative aptitude. Second is logical reasoning, and third is verbal ability. Now, what makes this entire piece, which is an aptitude test, difficult is not the kind of question that you are encountering, but the time in which you are supposed to do these questions. Like for example, if I take an example of the question paper of AMCAT, probably there are 50 questions that needs to be done within a time frame of 50 minutes, and there's also a negative marking. So that means it's not important for you to do a question, but it's the question has to be done correctly in less time. So so are you one who's doing a question using a conventional approach, or do you know certain shortcuts for solving the same question, wherein you will be able to do it within less time, and the time that you're saving here will help you to increase the number of attempts. So that plays a very vital role. So if I talk about the first component in aptitude test, which is quantitative aptitude, is nothing but maths till 10th, but a very strong blend of logic into it. So only is not going to help you solving these questions. You'll be able to solve it, but probably you'll not be able to solve the required number of questions to clear the cutoffs for that particular section. The important thing that needs to be taken into account is that you need to be clear with your fundamentals. You need to know what are those topics of quantitative aptitude from where the questions are being asked. So primarily in quantitative aptitude, the important topics are number system, percentages, profit loss discount, ratio proportion, mixture solution, time speed distance, time and work, algebra, geometry, permutation, combination, and probability. So in case you want to ace the quantitative section of aptitude test, these are few topics in which you'll have to have a good command. So in order to have a good command, you need to practice. You need to clear your fundamentals and basics. And once they are in place, then you need to practice more and more questions from these particular topics. Similarly, when I talk about the second section, which is logical reasoning, is also very important. So typically, if there are 25 questions that needs to be done within a time frame of less than 20 minutes, that means you have less than a minute for solving any of these questions. So as I've been telling you time and again, that it's not important for you to solve these questions, but solving it in less time with 100% accuracy is going to be a differentiator, and that's only going to help you to reach to that kind of a benchmark, right? So in logical reasoning also, there are some typical 10 to 15 different subtopics from where the questions are being asked. The importance lessons or chapters in logical reasoning from where the questions are asked are sequence and series. Then you have direction, then you have coding decoding, then you have alphabetical reasoning, then you have pictorial reasoning, Then you have clocks, calendars, accounting of figures. So these are some important topics which have to be there on your fingertips in case you want to ace this particular section again. Then comes the third section, which is again very critical, which is nothing but verbal ability. Now, in verbal ability, also, engineering students face a lot of problems because they're not voracious reader. They don't have a very good habit of reading. So anyone who is into reading would be able to get good marks in verbal ability and reading comprehension section, because typically in a VA section you have at least 3 to 4 RC passages, and RC passages plays a very vital role, because in case you're good in reading, you will be able to interpret the questions and you will be able to find the right answer well in time. So RC is very important. Then you have synonyms, antonyms, then you have para jumbles, you have para completion, you have fill in the blanks, you have jumbled sentences, so critical reasoning. So these are certain topics which will fall under verbal ability. So again, very first thing that you need to do is to first of all clear your fundamentals and basics in all these three: quant, logic, and verbal, the chapters which I have talked about in it. And once you have done that, try to solve more and more questions from these different parameters, and then start taking a lot of mock tests. Because in case you would have not taken a lot of mock tests, then at the time of an actual selection round, you might fumble up. So that shouldn't happen. So in case you would have taken a lot of mocks in that proctored environment, what I'm trying to tell you is that, like, let's say for example, this exam is going to be an online test, which is going to be a time bound, which is going to be conducted in an environment wherein there are hundreds of other students also appearing in a similar kind of an examination. So try to time yourself in the same environment, so that probably when you go for an actual examination also, that again comes to you like a next mock. So that's very important. So please ensure that from July till August, you take at least 2 to 3 mocks every week and analyze them very well. Try to see that what are those areas wherein you have not been able to do well, and what are those topics in which you need some consistent improvement, which will help you to uh, perform better in the subsequent test. So this is as far as the aptitude round is concerned. At times there are a lot of companies which also checks your technical skills. Like for example, for a computer science students, it's very important for you to know a couple of programming languages, which can either be Python or a Java or a C or a C++, because they can ask you to write a code for a particular programming language in this. So that again has to be there in your in place. At times there are a lot of objective type exam questions also from all these programming languages, which also needs to be done very thoroughly, because in case you perform well in this technical round and aptitude round, then those selected set of students are entitled to go for the second round, which is a personality round. Fine. So this is all about the first round. Now talking about a personality round. Now typically in a personality round, most nowadays most of the companies ask you, or even conducts a personal interview, but ideally it was a combination of a group discussion, an extempore, and followed by a personal interview. So we'll talk about that in the next session, but as of now, this is what it is. Thank you so much.